B Shake back at it again. What's up, guys? It's been a while. Haven't done a vlog in a while, but obviously with COVID and everything going on, and it's like a new, headline, almost breaking news every 2-3 hours. So I just felt like I gotta speak out. I gotta express some stuff going on because there's a lot of idiocracy going on, and the sheep are going in a very, very, very strong direction toward the edge of the cliff. So let's dive into it, guys. I want to talk about a certain topic this video. I think the hot topic for everybody out in the streets right now. There's this huge narrative going on with BLM, and the media is just constantly playing this narrative of defunding the police. Defunding the police. I mean, I don't think in 60 years, 70 years in America has ever heard of something insane like that. If anything, you probably need to fund the police more because they're underfunded in these crime-infested areas. So again, let me just reel it back and tell you my own personal anecdote of kind of being in the hood and seeing a lot of stuff. I was a security guard. I had friends in the hood. I've been in and out the hood. I've seen all type of stuff from killings, shootings, drugs, gangbanging. I mean, you name it, I've seen it firsthand, experienced it. And I could say with confidence that police are not the problem in the hood. Police are not the problem in these areas of poverty, I guess you can say. If anything, we need more police, because I think the country and these BLM supporters are in an emotional state where they'll see a video of George Floyd, they'll see a video of Breonna Taylor, and previous videos of Eric Garner, Trayvon Martin, and so on. But to say that the entire police system needs to get abolished because of these certain issues, certain incidents, is madness. It's complete madness. I mean, how could you even make these claims without statistical facts? I mean, if you're somebody that's pushing a narrative at a national level, you better have some damn facts. You better have some valid statistics to back up what you're saying, because you can't just be saying these type of claims, presenting these type of ideas, outlandish ideas, without any hard facts and with just videos that you've seen of certain cases and basically sensationalism from the media of constantly playing these cases over and over and over. I think a lot of people don't know the facts. So again, I want to dive into, where does this idea come from about police brutality? Because you've seen a couple cases, you've seen a couple sensationalized videos on CNN and these major news networks. When you look at throughout the year, just for this year or the last 4 years, police shootings of unarmed civilians have gone down every year for the last 4 years since Trump has been in office. So I'm not sure where they get this narrative from that police brutality is a systematic issue, or is it, a couple bad apples? And I could go even deeper and say, is it a couple bad apples? Because let's dive into the main case that everyone's talking about right now, George Floyd. I mean, we can talk about George Floyd's previous history, and I'm probably going to be named, a coon or named, a racist or whatever, because that's irrelevant to the case. I don't think so. I don't think it's irrelevant, because that shows somebody's character. That shows somebody's, the man wasn't like 20 years old, 25 years old. He was damn near over 30 years old, so that definitely shows, what type of path he was in life, and what led to the incidents and the event that occurred that, took his life away eventually. He was a porno-making crackhead. I mean, that's what he was, You can look at the history of George Floyd. He was a criminal. He was a flat-out criminal. 2008, he went to jail or prison, really, for fentanyl, which is the hardest drug in America you can consume. In 2010, I believe, he went to prison again for fentanyl. I think in 2012. I might be off with the dates and stuff like that, but you guys can do your research and find that these are This is on his criminal history. Sometime around that time, he also was charged with robbery for ransacking a pregnant woman's home, put a gun to her stomach, and basically said he was going to kill her unborn child. Shoved his way into her apartment and robbed her. The day of his arrest, he was caught using a fake $20 bill to purchase something at a store, and that's the reason the cops were called. And he was high on fentanyl even the day that he arrived. And the death autopsy of him dying, they still don't know that he might have just died not from that police officer having his knee on his neck for that long, but it could have just been, he had breathing issues from the fentanyl that was, running through his system. There's a video footage of him throwing out a baggie of white, fentanyl, and I think it's been confirmed now that it was fentanyl. So again, this narrative of police brutality. Now, again, I'm not saying that, he should have died the way he did, in an inhumane way, in an unjust way. And I believe that officer deserves probably the death penalty, if not life in prison. But how can you say that the system is corrupt based off cases like this? Almost every case that you talk about, from Eric Gardner, Breonna Taylor, even Trayvon Martin, these people weren't insane. These people weren't, just some law-abiding citizens just walking around minding their own business. They had a pretty strong criminal history. Given all this, when you look at the national statistics, like I said, police shootings have gone down or at probably the most minimum they've been in the last probably 30 to 40 years. So this narrative that is being pushed by BLM and being pushed by the media about police brutality is just absurd. It's crazy. It's like, I've been in the hood, I've worked in San Bernardino, which is the murder capital of California. I've seen gangbangers. I've seen all type of crazy criminals. Like, if anything, I wasn't even armed. If anything, you need more police. You need more security guards in these areas because it's a threat to the innocent people in these communities. The police are not the threat. At this point, I feel like the left, the media, and the BLM, their whole narrative is basically to just defend criminals. That's what it's come down to now. America is defending its criminals because half of America that's part of government are criminals themselves. So it's just madness. I don't know where we've gotten to in this society today. But as a minority, as somebody that's worked in these areas of high invested crime, I can tell you firsthand that, police brutality is not, it's not reality. I don't think people understand what cops really have to go through. Their life can be lost in a blink of an eye because of the things that they have to deal with. So do some cops make some mistakes? Yeah, for sure they do. But overall, is the system corrupt? No, you cannot say the system is corrupt because there's statistics that prove that, the police system, if anything, needs more funding. If anything, needs more presence in these areas because the crime is so high. Imagine you talking about defunding the police. You take the police out of south side of Chicago, you understand what's going to happen over there? There'll be a bloodbath overnight. If there already isn't, every other day there's a shooting. There's a killing every other day. Probably even every 6-7 hours, I would say. Baton Rouge, Compton, San Bernardino, the Bronx, Brooklyn. These are like really hard infested areas of crime. I don't even understand. If you're somebody that comes from these areas, I don't think anybody has a narrative or has a mindset that we need less police or we need to defund the police. So, that's just my bid. That's just something I want to push out and make people understand. Don't get caught up in the hype. Don't get caught up in these bullshit narratives that the media wants to push, BLM wants to push. Even BLM, let's talk about the name is Black Lives Matter. If Black Lives Matter, you'd be out there protesting when an innocent kid dies on Father's Day just because of gang violence. He was going on a walk with his father in the park, and he was caught in the middle of a shootout and died. I mean, where was BLM then? You know what I mean? Countless kids die every day in the hood because of gang violence. But you don't have any protests about BLM. The news doesn't cover that. So, let's not get caught up in this fake bullshit narrative that BLM wants to push, because, I mean, even if you look at their manifesto, their mission statement, they care more about transgender and gay rights and about abolishing the traditional family than they do about Black lives. It's just madness at this point. So last thing before I end this video, guys, I just want to touch on what's currently happening. Obviously, you guys know I'm a big NBA head. A lot of you guys are as well. And, they've been back on playing games recently for about maybe a week now, I think. So one thing that's really bothering me about the NBA is how involved they've been politically. And they're promoting Black Lives Matter like as if it's like a sponsorship thing that they got going on with them. I mean, this is madness. I've never seen this in my life. I mean, you're pushing like a political agenda. You have Black Lives Matter, shirts and all this stuff going on. It's like, is this the NBA, or did the NBA come back just to push a political agenda? I mean, it's just crazy. There's no fans, and I mean, the game to me, like, the emotion has been taken out. I mean, that's a whole other, separate topic. Just as a basketball fan, like somebody who plays basketball, like, I don't like the state where the game is at right now at all. But the reason I bring that up is because when you look at all the questions being asked in the interviews, most of the stars of the NBA, like LeBron, Harden, Westbrook, and all these guys, they're all like not even about basketball. It's all questions about Black Lives Matter. And it's like these celebrities are being used to push their agenda. In my opinion, I think they're just very misinformed. I don't think that if they knew the facts and they really knew what was going on, the players wouldn't be pushing these narratives. But it's, the NBA has a pretty strong chokehold over every aspect of the NBA, from the players, the way the game is officiated, the run, everything, So, in my opinion, I think what people don't understand is when LeBron, Carmelo, and all these players that come from these certain areas, you kind of take what they say more credible, because you think, of course, police brutality exists. These guys are saying it because they came from certain areas. But a lot of these people haven't really got the full spectrum of people from the hood, because a lot of these players were special players or special people that were able to get out and not be really exposed to those environments where they went to like all white schools because of basketball. They went to like private schools because of basketball. Most of their schools were, probably like 5-10% black. And if they were 5-10% black, those black kids weren't necessarily from the hood. They came from like good homes, come from, a little bit better, more of a middle class area. So these guys weren't really exposed to like gang violence. They didn't really see the goons, you know what I mean? There's a lot of goons walking around in the hood. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's people, you get robbed, you look at a person wrong, you cut somebody off wrong, there could be a pistol pulled out, and that could be the end of it, you know what I mean? Especially nowadays, like, you even look at Southside Chicago, like, these young bulls, they all got pistols out, and they're all walking around like life and death is not like a concept in their life, in their mind. That's like, it's like a game to them, So I don't think these players really understand, because they didn't really get, the only thing that's in their head is like, when you are a minority, or you're not, you're in an all-white school, and yeah, you grew up in the hood, and so now when you come to this all-white school, you naturally feel out of place. You naturally feel like an outsider, and you feel as if, there's like some type of racism going on. When that's not systematically, again, you can't prove that racism exists. You know what I mean? You can't show me in the education system, in the police system, it just doesn't exist. There's no hardcore facts that show that minorities or people of color are, oppressed in any way systematically. So I think that's why, a lot of these players are like, because it's not like, I think when they speak about these issues, they speak about it with like, like they generally believe in what they're saying. I don't think they're just pushing the agenda because the NBA wants them to push it. But, I think people have to understand that these players, they didn't really get a full scope of the hood. They didn't really get they were lucky enough to get shielded from those type of things that happen in the hood. But I think if they did, they would understand very quickly that, if as a black person or somebody that's just from the hood, you're 10 times more afraid of another goon and another black person walking around than you are the cops. If anything, the cops might save your life. So I think people need to understand that. I think NBA is trash for promoting that. You know what I mean? BLM is a trash organization because they don't care about black lives, let alone any life. They're really just like a gay transgender. I don't even know what they're pushing. You know what I mean? What is their narrative? Like, what are they pushing? You know what I'm saying? Like, police brutality is not. You can statistically disprove that. Systematically, it doesn't exist. So what are you pushing? You know what I mean? It's just everything is emotionally based now, I think. You know, it's dangerous. It's dangerous because when groups like that have that type of pull, that type of power, the more sheep they can get to get jumped off that cliff. And we're living in very, very tough times where, you know, not too many people are thinking. You know what I mean? Every information is being fed to us like software systems, and it was just being downloaded into our brains. So we need more thinkers. We need more people asking questions. We need more people being more curious of what the truth is. And so, yeah, guys, just wanted to touch up on that last segment about NBA. I still mess with the NBA, still motivating, still getting me to go out there, shoot some hoops. But, you know, I got to be honest, I don't like the state of the game right now. The no fans thing, you know, the emotion of the game's been taken out. All this promotion of Black Lives Matter. But you know what? I'm a God-loving person. I take the blessings as it is. Not much going on in COVID, so I'll take it. You know what I'm saying? I'll take it. I still like watching the NBA. It's still fun. You know, like I said, it's getting me inspired to go outside and play some hoops. Hopefully it gets you guys inspired to just be more physically active. And so, yeah, that's the last thing I want to touch, guys. Always ask questions, be curious, and just understand that, you know, BLM is a terrorist organization. And I'm not afraid to say it. And like I said, I just proved this in this video. I can prove it through facts, statistical facts. That's what it is, guys. So be Shaikh here again. Hopefully I'll touch in with you guys soon. Stay inspired, stay motivated, and keep pushing. See y'all next time.